Good morning, everyone. Here is the fit, dressed and ready for church, not the slippers. Officially 12 weeks today. We're headed to church. We haven't been to church in the past few weeks due to sickness and migraines and just things coming up. So it's our first time back in a few weeks and I'm excited. Benji got mac and cheese and fries, EJ got the chicken parm, and I got the deep dish ziti. I got a pizookie. We're home now. Ben is down for a nap. I've changed into some comfy clothes. I need to wash our comforter. We have a lot of laundry that we need to do today, including our comforter, sheets, and towels. So I'm going to get started now with our comforter so that we have some time later on to finish out the rest of the stuff. So let's go wash the comforter. The comforter is done. I was actually really nervous it wasn't gonna work because I haven't done this fold before, and in the past the weight wasn't distributed evenly and then it would just give me the error and it wouldn't rinse all the way, and so it would be like absolutely soaked full of water, not able to dry. So I'm just really happy that this one worked because now I can just throw it in the dryer and it'll be good tonight. Are you gonna eat that? I made some more water. Water. Done. It's dizzy and you run off. What are you doing? You take a nap? Sleepy Ben. Sleepy Ben. Hi, Sleepy Ben. You sleepy Ben. All outside playing with bubbles. You're just finishing up with the edges of the lawn. Our lawn is looking so much nicer. We hadn't cut it since last year because it was in hibernation or whatever, but it was getting kind of long, so it was time. So this is not drying very well. This material, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a linen, but it's super thick, and so it's still damp. I ran it through the initial dryer run and then I did it a second time, and I think I'm gonna have to do it a third time because this is just a little too wet to sleep in. So hopefully this third one will be the last one. Made it to work. Hey guys, it's lunchtime. I have my wraps. EJ's home with migraine today, so I'm doing lunch alone. I was gonna eat at my desk, but today's been another nothing day. There's no new emails, no new tasks to do, so I've just been sitting there the whole day and I just needed at least a 15-minute break away from the screen. So, I'm gonna eat my wraps. Hi guys, so it has been a few days since the last time you saw me. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update. I did unfortunately lose the baby. Gestationally, I was 12 weeks and 1 day, almost 2 days. So the last time you saw me was Monday. I had started cramping a little bit on Saturday night and it really didn't go away all throughout Sunday and all throughout Monday as well. In pregnancy, in the beginning, and really throughout the pregnancy, it can be normal to cramp. However, doctors and online resources will usually tell you that your cramps should not be very intense, it should not be very painful, and they should not be without ceasing. Earlier in the pregnancy, I did have those types of cramps that were considered more normal. They would come and go and they were very light. This time it felt very different. They were noticeably more intense and they didn't really go away. So on Monday I had been cramping for a little bit over 2 days and I was getting nervous, so I did give the doctor a call and they told me that with all of my history there were just a lot of things that could be causing cramping, and they did their best to reassure me and make me feel like nothing was wrong. At this point, my next appointment was in a week and a day, the next Tuesday. So with the doctor trying to calm me down and my next appointment being so soon, I did feel a little comforted and I felt like it was fine and I could wait until Tuesday. On Monday night, a little bit later on in the evening, after I had showered, I went to the bathroom and I noticed a clot of blood, and it wasn't spotting, it wasn't a light little drop, it was a noticeable clot, a noticeable size, and immediately I knew that that was not supposed to happen, that I was losing the baby. With all the cramps happening that day and the days prior, I kind of had it in my mind already that maybe I was miscarrying, but even having those thoughts for the past few days, I was still shocked. I couldn't even cry. After I lost the first clot, the cramps got really intense, very bad, worse than my period cramps, and usually I have pretty painful period cramps. I've never really been this far in a pregnancy while having a miscarriage, so I assumed it was just like the other ones where I could just put a pad on and, you know, go to sleep. So that's what I tried to do. I put a pad on and I tried to go to sleep, and when I woke up a few hours later, the cramps were just so bad I couldn't fall back to sleep. It was at that time that I also felt a pop and a little bit of clear liquid came out, and I assumed that that was my water breaking. Even at 12 weeks you do have waters that can break. There wasn't a lot because it was still only 12 weeks, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it was. After that, the cramps were terrible, and the amount of blood and clots that I was passing was a lot. It was a little scary, and the cramps were just so bad. So I did end up calling labor and delivery to see if they could do anything, if they could take me in. But because my pregnancy was only 12 weeks, it was not going to be viable, so they weren't going to be able to take me in. But the nurse on call, she did tell me that she would definitely have me go to the ER. So at this point, it was around 2:30, and I called my mom and I asked her to come watch Ben so that she could take me to the hospital. And she was there in like 15 minutes. The first ER we went to was like a standalone ER, and they didn't have any like ultrasounds or really anything at all. The front desk lady was really helpful. She said that she could check me in if I wanted to go there, but really they wouldn't be able to do anything. And she recommended me go to a different ER that does have the ultrasound machines and more help available for me at the time. We went through triage, we sat in the waiting room for a little bit. I was called back for an ultrasound, and while we were waiting for those results, we went back to the waiting room. Multiple times during the night, every like 10 minutes, I would have to go to the bathroom to pass clots, and the cramping would get incredibly painful right when I needed to pass a clot. And then as soon as that was done, my cramps would go back to like a level 2, level 3 pain. So while in the ER, in the waiting room, and during the ultrasound and then back in the waiting room, I had to pass clots multiple times. And so at this point, I was losing lots and lots of blood and very rapidly, and my body was just not handling it very well. So while in the waiting room after the ultrasound, after I'd gone to the bathroom, I stood up to wash my hands and my vision just completely left, and EJ was sitting right outside the bathroom at the chairs over there, and as soon as I opened the door, I collapsed to the ground because my legs just gave out. I couldn't feel anything, I couldn't see anything. It was only for a few seconds. He helped me up and he sat me down in my chair. At that point, I started hyperventilating. I just couldn't catch a breath. I don't know. And I started to feel like I was gonna throw up. I said, I'm gonna throw up. And he said, okay, what do you need me to do? And so he started wheeling me over to the bathroom, and I said, no, I need to go to the front. And so he started taking me to the front desk, and I don't remember going there because I passed out. And then I was in and out a little bit. I could hear and I could feel someone pulling my shoulders back to hold me up in my head. And they were rushing me back to like the emergency transfusion room. They thought I was gonna need an emergency blood transfusion, but they hooked me up to some liquids. I don't know what liquids they use, but after getting some liquids in, I started to feel better. I was aware, and my blood pressure was a little bit better. So they decided to hold off on the transfusion. While that worked for a little bit, I did end up having to get a blood transfusion. And then while that worked for a little bit, I still was bleeding and my blood pressure just kept dropping, and they didn't know what was wrong. So they did have me go back for an emergency D&C to clear out everything and see if there was like a different source of blood. And the surgery went really well. They were able to clear out the rest of what my body couldn't get out. My blood pressure returned to a normal state throughout the day. And originally they thought I was gonna have to stay overnight, but I actually ended up going home that day, which was Tuesday evening. After I got home, I did end up taking the rest of the week off. They said I would only need around 2 or 3 days to be physically okay, but I just wanted to take some time for my own mental health. EJ and the rest of my family have been watching over Ben and taking care of me, and it's so that I can recover as best as I can. Obviously, this recovery period mentally is going to take a while. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I've had multiple miscarriages, so it's not my first time, but it is my first time with the pregnancy being so far along. So I know that wasn't the most happy update, but I just wanted to fill you guys in on everything that happened. I know there were a lot of details in there, maybe a little bit too much for some. I really hope that I'll be able to do another pregnancy series sometime in the future, but this is going to be the end of this pregnancy series. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.